Hi friends, welcome to my video, welcome to my channel, welcome to my 10,000 subscriber Q&A video. Thank you so much to every single one of you who submitted questions. I was convinced that I wasn't gonna get a single question. I thought if I was lucky, I might get one or two, but I have a total of 12 questions, so thank you so much. I've organized the questions according to category, keeping like questions together, and they are all listed for you down in the description box so you can skip ahead to the parts of the video that you're most interested in. You can also navigate this video via the play bar. There are chapters along the bottom of the video, so if you move your mouse, you should be able to see them. It's a little longer than usual, so grab a snack, grab a beverage, and let's just get right into it. This first section is about who I am. My first question comes from Shraddha. Shraddha would like to know a little bit about me, where I originally come from, and how I met Pranav. Thank you for this question, Shraddha, because I've actually never introduced myself on this channel before. So I'm Aneela, I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm Canadian. I originally come from right here. I was born Canadian. I think what you're actually getting after though, Shraddha, is sort of my ethnicity, what my origins are. So my parents immigrated to Canada in 1969. They came from a tiny nation known as Trinidad and Tobago. It's actually a country made up of two little islands, and they are situated just north of Venezuela, so north of South America. Before that, my great-grandparents immigrated to the Caribbean as indentured laborers. On my mom's side, they come from Himachal Pradesh. On my father's side, he traces his ancestry to Nepal, but I don't know what region. So my ethnicity is Indian. My race is South Asian, so I hope that that answers the question of identity for you. Pranav is Canadian now. He got his citizenship 2 years ago, but Pranav is originally from India. How I met Pranav is really a short story. I was traveling in India with my parents. We needed help with some hotel bookings, and I had his number. He and I had connected on High Five, which was a pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram platform, and I called him up for some assistance, and he helped us. We met for coffee, and we kept meeting for coffee over the course of like 3 or 4 days, and I just fell in love with this guy. I thought he was the best person I had ever met, and he was so kind and really easy to look at. I knew that he was the one after just 4 days together. I think he felt the same way. I will insert footage of Pranav attesting that I am the one right here.
Wait, when did you know that you loved me?
Bangalore, 2006. Just after a few days I met you.
There you go. I hope that answers your questions, Shraddha. Thank you so much. This segment is about small space living. The next question comes from Ardeen, and it is a question about small space living. Thank you, Ardeen. You would like to know how I organize my life to live in a small space with my husband and now baby. Living in a small Toronto condo is not easy. Our condo is a 2-bedroom condo. It's 950 square feet, and we have a small balcony, which is 50 square feet. Now that we have Maahi, it is getting a little bit tight. Pranav is the organized one in our relationship, and I'm the disorganized one. But we do have 2 principles by which we try to abide as much as possible. The first one is to not bring in any unnecessary items. Groceries, furnishings, clothing, personal items, baby items. We try not to buy something unless it's absolutely necessary. There isn't a single piece of furniture in our condo that we don't use. Pranav is really good at getting rid of clothing when he buys new clothing. So if he buys new items for his wardrobe, he will donate or sell or repurpose his old items. He's really good at that. The next thing we try to do is put things back where they belong. And again, I will be the first to tell you that I leave my items all over this apartment all the time. Pranav rather is consistently picking up after me more than I pick up after him. Having Maahi doesn't make it any easier because baby items end up everywhere, even in places where the baby himself does not go. At any point in time, our bedroom could have teethers, blankets, rags, onesies, and Maahi didn't put them there. We tried to keep his things back in their correct places because baby items just explode. Pranav and I are right now in a cold war about the location of one particular lint roller. I think that the lint roller should live in the coat closet in the entryway. He thinks that it should live on his desk at his workstation. I don't know why he thinks that it belongs there, but we don't talk about this. He and I just take turns moving the lint roller back to the location where we think it should be, and then the other one takes it and puts it where they think that it should be. So, but we cannot purchase another lint roller because that would violate principle number 1. I hope that gives you some insight into our small living situation, Ardeen. This segment is all about YouTube. Both Sakib and Sangeeta would like to know what inspired me to start my YouTube channel. When I started this channel back in 2011, there was nothing like inspiration, okay, if I'm being honest. I took some pictures with my digital camera, compiled them into a video and uploaded it. I didn't know much about the landscape, video editing, copyright. I really had no knowledge whatsoever. I simply just started uploading things. This is not a strategy that I would recommend to anyone. Over the years, I've learned a little bit more about how to film, edit, photography, copyright, and the look and feel of my videos has evolved over time. But if I'm going back to the beginning and how I started, it was really just like audacity. Now, I know that Sangeeta, you want to start your own podcast, and I know you have a theme in mind already. So if there's any advice I can give you at all, it would be to keep a notebook on hand, write down ideas as they come to you. You will have some things already jotted down. It'll make it easier for you to plan that content and figure out how you want to package it and distribute it. Sangeeta would also like to know how I got over my camera shyness. Honestly, I'm not over it. I'm still very uncomfortable in front of the camera. I have insecurities like everybody else about my appearance, the way I sound, my voice, especially if I have to say something in Hindi or Punjabi. Like, I'm just so aware of my accent because it's not a native accent. And I actually get a lot of comments on this channel about this accent right here. So many people want to know why I'm speaking with a fake accent. But this is my accent because I'm Canadian, and I think that people, they see a brown girl, they see someone who looks like an Indian girl, and they expect her to sound a certain way, but I'm Canadian. I've sounded like this the whole time. Any inhibitions or insecurities that I feel are a direct factor of my ego. And I don't ever want my ego to be the reason why I don't do something, especially something that gives me so much happiness. I hope that answers your question. Janelle, another YouTuber, would like to know how YouTube or doing YouTube has impacted my relationship. My relationship with Pranav is obviously very separate from YouTube, but Pranav is certainly very supportive of what I do. He's also appeared on my channel in many videos. So from that perspective, having Pranav in my videos on my channel and being supportive has certainly made it easier for me. I do know where you're coming from though, Janelle, because you want to include your partner in your YouTube videos. I know we've chatted about that. I'm here for it. Please start making content together. I will be watching. Aman would like to know what type of content I will create going forward. Thank you for this question, Aman. I mentioned last week that I would like to branch out. I do want to continue making food-related videos. That is what brought a lot of people to this channel, and I genuinely enjoy making food content. I'm gonna make a lot more what I ate in a day videos, as you suggested, Aman, and a lot more compilation style videos, which allow me to share more than one recipe in a video. I also want to make more videos about gardening on my balcony and indoors, as well as more lifestyle content, hopefully travel when it's safe to do so, and of course, Maahi content, because a lot of you have asked for more Maahi content. This next section is about travel. Aman would like to know how we manage to eat healthy while traveling. Is that a rhetorical question, Aman? I mean, I have a question for you. What makes you think that we're eating healthy? Obviously, that's not the answer that you're looking for, but I have to say that food is a large part of the reason why Pranav and I travel. I mean, as vegetarians, we do have to often think about whether we will have enough food when we go somewhere. In fact, it could be the single most deciding factor in choosing a destination. If we're not going to have anything good to eat, we just don't want to go there. We have, opted out of going to certain places because we knew that it wouldn't be very vegetarian or vegan friendly. But once we get somewhere and there's enough food to eat, we are eating constantly.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Sweet, coconutty, tangy. Very good.
There is one saving grace, however, and that is that anywhere we go, Pranav and I really like to walk. All I can really say is that we eat a lot, but we kind of offset it by walking a lot. That is an honest answer to your question. Aman would also like to know my favorite travel destination. It's very difficult to choose just one, but off the top of my head, I'm gonna say Thailand. I have been to Thailand twice. I just feel like I am not done with Thailand. I love the food, but I also really like the Thai language. I think it's musical. It's quite pleasing to me anyway. The people are the kindest, most beautiful people. I mean, honestly, everywhere that we've gone, we've met the kindest, most beautiful people. We really have. But Aman, we had an incredible time in Egypt recently as well, and that was the first, Middle Eastern country I had ever been to, and it really made me want to experience more of the Middle East, other countries that fall under that banner. And I do want to go back to Mexico. I haven't seen enough of Mexico either, more of like rural Mexico. Hard question, Aman, really hard. It's a tricky question. My friend and fellow YouTuber Alina would like to know, what is the best meal that I've had on travel? Alina, thank you for this question. It's a very difficult one. Again, Alina is a travel YouTuber and she travels full time. It is her livelihood. It is also her passion. She's been showing us what it looks like to travel globally during a pandemic. So if that is something that interests you, head over to her channel. To answer your question, Alina, Pranav and I had an incredibly delicious fine dining experience at Blue Elephant in Bangkok. Blue Elephant is a restaurant where heads of state, dignitaries, celebrities dine there. And we had a very delicious vegetarian chef's menu. And it stands out to me as one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. Just the very immersive experience of eating that food in that setting. It was just, holds such a special place in my memory. We also had a very memorable meal in Guatemala with Mercedes, a coffee farmer. He served us in his home and we ate tortillas, guacamole. It was very simple food presented in a simple way. It was food that his daughter just prepared in their little outdoor kitchen. We had such great conversation. I mean, like me bumbling along in really bad Spanish, but it was more about the connection that we made with Mercedes, and that was also a very memorable meal. So 2 answers for that question: Blue Elephant and the home of Mercedes. This segment is all about Maahi. My dear niece Arishti would like to know, did Maahi say mama or papa first? Well, Maahi is still largely nonverbal. He does babble a lot. He says a lot of, ba, 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 da, 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 but he doesn't actually call Pranav and I mama or papa just yet. I don't know what it's gonna feel like when he does, when he actually looks at me and calls me mama. I think my heart will just... Shireen would like to know what feelings arose for Pranav and myself when we were waiting for Maahi to enter this world. This is a very deep question. I could probably make a video about this topic alone. I will try to summarize the way we felt, or a few of the key feelings that came up. The first, I would say, was a sense of concern about the loss of my freedom. Now, It's funny to say that because it's true and it's not true. Like, you know, your life with a child is obviously not a restricted life. You can continue to enjoy many of the things that you did before. It's not all sacrifice all the time. You just find a new way to do those things, incorporating your child into those activities. But Pranav and I were together alone for a very long time. We did have a son before Maahi, whom we lost, and I did talk about that briefly on my channel, but before that and after that, Pranav and I enjoyed quite a lot of freedom, not really having to be responsible for anyone other than ourselves. You get used to that, you know, sleeping, eating, traveling where you want, doing whatever you want to do. I didn't want to give that up. I still don't want to give that up. Another thing that we felt was that time was definitely going by very quickly. Now, the physicality of being pregnant was removed for me because we had a surrogate. Now, I was pregnant with our first child, so I very much know what it is to be pregnant, or what it is for me like to be pregnant, but not having that physical experience really made time fly faster. I mean, the milestones, the pregnancy milestones just seemed to go by one after the other. And then before we knew it, his birth was imminent. Another thing I felt, and I'm really just speaking for myself, was kind of, how do I put this? I had some difficulty picturing our life with another boy. The child that we lost the first time around was a boy. And so envisioning us with another boy was challenging, but honestly, once Maahi was born and we were thrown into the full swing of caring for him and seeing to his needs, that feeling just kind of evaporated, you know? There's a lot more that I could go into, and if that is interesting, then I can attempt to make a separate video about surrogacy, the experience of having a baby via surrogacy, but I really, can't get into it in a shorter video like this. But I hope that answers some of your question, Shireen. Thank you. This last segment is about pandemic life. This last question comes from my dear friend, Nandita. Nandita and I got to know each other when we lived in Bangalore. I mean, Pranav was living in Bangalore for a long time, but I lived there for 3 years after we got married. Nandita would like to know what the pandemic has taught me. This is a very difficult question, Nandita, but there are two things. The first thing the pandemic has taught me, or taught us, is the value of the human connection. There is nothing like the in-person human connection. My family lives here, so my parents see us, see Maahi on a regular basis when it's safe to do so. But Pranav's family is in India, and it is so difficult for us to be away from them. Not seeing them for Diwali, birthdays, other celebrations, the birth of Maahi, it's just so incredibly difficult. And yes, we can be connected on our phones and we can see each other via a screen, but it's absolutely not the same as being in person, being able to touch and hug the people that you love. There is nothing to replace that. So, the value of the human connection, I guess, is my first answer. My second answer is a simple one. It's just, I think it has taught me to, at least try to be a little more compassionate and kind toward other people. Everyone's just trying to do their best in this situation. It's not easy. Everybody is so on edge. Everyone is quick to anger sometimes, myself included. I mean, it's a work in progress. I'm not a patient person, but it has taught me that is worth working on. That brings me to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who is subscribed to this channel, who has supported this channel, our work. I'm just so grateful. If you have just found this video randomly and you're like, oh, I kind of like her, I'm gonna subscribe. Thank you. Thank you for that as well. Let's make it to the next 10K. I'll see you next week with something else.